Jennifer and welcome to the High on Gravity YouTube channel. So I love podcasts. I just think it's such a great way to just kind of pass time, especially when you're like on a flight or something maybe, or when you're just walking from A to B. Like, why not get a podcast and get some knowledge in that noggin, you know? Anyway, I just thought I'd list some of my favorite podcasts. So the first podcast that actually got me into listening to podcasts, it's Invisibilia. So Invisibilia is a podcast about the things or the forces, the invisible things that shape us or shape who we are. Really loved their first and their second season. I haven't really listened to anything past that because I've been hooked on like a couple of other podcasts now, but their first season is really great. The second one, which I found through Invisibilia, in a way it's similar in the sense that it's kind of social psych related. That podcast is called Hidden Brain. It deals with like findings from economics, findings from psychology, and it's really entertaining, and I find the insights really interesting, and I can kind of apply that to my daily life. So what I like about Hidden Brain is that most of it is under half an hour. So it's just really good bite sizes. It's how I built this, and I heard about how I built this from like the ads on like NPR. I think I might not have listened to about 10 episodes, but other than that, I've listened to every single episode. Let me just read you the quick description. It's about innovators, entrepreneurs, idealists, and the stories behind the movement they built. And it is so interesting. They have so many interviews with so many interesting people. For example, I was never curious about Sarah Blakely, the person who started Spanx, or, you know, Cliff Bars. I mean, I knew what they were, but I mean, I wasn't ever interested in the story or anything. But listening to all these stories, it's so interesting and also kind of inspiring and motivating. It's amazing the amount of drive these people have to want to do what they do or better a circumstance or a situation. Another goodie, it's not always my go-to, but it cracks me up so much. It's a podcast called No Such Thing as a Fish, and it's really informative and also highly entertaining. In the podcast, they talk about like each person talks about a fact, and they all have like facts about everything, and it's just so interesting. It's just the most bizarre things that you don't think are like true or real or like existing, and they are. So, and they have really good banter. It's super funny. Like sometimes I'll be listening to it like on my way to work or from work, and I will crack up like while walking, and people will probably just be like and I also listen to TED Radio Hour. So it's Guy Raz from How I Built This, and he summarizes a couple of the ideas and like the related videos and talks that you can find on TED, and that he interviews those presenters, kind of like bite-sized TED in podcast format, because you're not always going to be watching something. I've just got a quick update. I didn't listen to like tons and tons of episodes or anything, but I listened to at least like 1 or 2 episodes from each of these podcasters, and I really wanted to add them to this video because I really liked them. So 99% Invisible is a podcast by a guy called Roman Mars, and the podcast is essentially about design and architecture, and the things that we don't really notice and we take for granted, and it's just the stories behind them. So for example, how the Shinkansen was developed, and how biomimicry had a part to play in the development of the Shinkansen with the inspiration from the birds. There's so many interesting episodes on there, and I'm just going to be downloading heaps of them to listen to on my walk to work. So I'm going to be preoccupied with that one for a while. Podcast I want to mention is called Control-Alt-Delete. It's like an interview format podcast, and she chat to her guests about their relationship with the internet. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and let me know what you think of those podcasts, if you love them as much as I do, or if you think like those are okay and that there is some better like podcast channel out there that I should really be listening to that you love. Please leave that down in the comment section below because I would love to check those out. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching. Bye. Thank you. And you. And you. And you. And you. Listen to me ramble. Ciao Bellas. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Bye.